And we are live, so we can start. It's 11 dot. So, hello everyone, good morning, and welcome to the fourth panel discussion organized by the Unicorn people. It's so nice to see everyone come here in the morning on a Saturday morning specifically to join us for this discussion here. Today, we'll be talking about how to create impactful online employee engagement. Remote working, as you all know, has become the new normal. Now, in the initial of this pandemic, it was a little difficult for organizations to cope up, to understand how it works. But now, after quite some time now, we have sort of gotten used to it. Recently, Gartner also conducted a study which said 88% of the organizations have moved towards working towards a more normal situation now. So let's get to the point. Today we'll be talking about three main topics here. First will be the pillars of engagement. Then we'll talk about how we have transitioned from a traditional engagement to online engagement. And thirdly, we'll be talking about the challenges and impact of online engagement. So I welcome all the participants here. For participants joining us on Zoom, please use the chat box to put in your questions. For participants who have joined us on Facebook, please use the comment section. Now I'd like to introduce the esteemed panel that we have with us. We have Dr. Ankita Singh, we have Mr. Bhavesh Patel, and we have Mr. Anand Binani. Over to you, Vandana, for the more introduction on the panelists. Vandana, please unmute yourself.
Okay, this keeps happening. So yes, thank you so much, Rashi, for the wonderful, intro and you kick-starting the session. And I will start with a little brief about our panelists who come with huge amount of experience. All of them are above 15 plus years of experience in HR, been there for quite some time in the corporate world. And so today's panel discussion is again gonna be really, something from where you can pick up pointers and utilize it on the run. So we'll start with Mr. Anand Binani. He's AGM HR JSW Infrastructure Limited. Anand is an alumnus of University of Pune, that is Pumba, and he currently leads talent management practice for JSW Infrastructure, priming the organization interventions to develop a winning culture. He has previously worked with First Data Corporation, Airworks Group, Reliance Industries Limited, and Emphasis. He has developed effective, scalable processes by leveraging analytics and Six Sigma methodologies. And I'll also give you a brief about Anand. Anand, we were actually speaking before before coming live, that Anand has actually recently implemented a full-fledged online engagement for JSW infrastructure. So guys, please, if you are from the heavy industry, I would, or the manufacturing sector, you're struggling to actually come up with an effective online engagement, Anand is your person. Please start asking questions to him. Dr. Ankita Singh, Senior VP HR, Signex Datamatics. Ankita has been conferred the CHRO of the year 2020 by World HRD Congress, Women Excellence Award 2020 by Institute for Digital Marketing and Business Analytics, that is IDMBA, Hyderabad, and Business Person of the Year 2020 at the 12th Asiad Literature Festival by Bharat Nirman, Delhi. She is also ranked amongst Forbes India's top 100 Great People Manager by Great Manager Institute. I thought 2020 just started and everybody is asking to delete 2020. Just look at the lady. She has already won so many awards and titles in 2020. She has excelled in establishing innovative and competitive initiatives and institutionalizing a strong performance-driven culture at Signex Datamatics, which had resulted in the company being certified as a Great Place to Work Institute in 3 consecutive years, that is 2017-18, 18-19, and 19-20. So that's like, lot to learn from Ankita, how she has done that. And the thing is not reaching at the top. The most difficult part that people say is that the path to the top is slippery, and it is very difficult to stay at the top. So how did you manage it for 3 consecutive years? Ankita, please do tell us. Okay. Mr. Bhavesh Patel, talent partner, Wipro Limited. Bhavesh has a proven track record of working with global leadership to improve business results through people and HR solutions. Bhavesh has intensively worked on HR transformational projects and has, led, provided thought leadership. He's come up with innovative ideas and helped, Wipro and the other organization that is where he has worked previously is Genpact, IBM, Capgemini, Jana Small Finance Bank, and so he has actually helped them implement sheer technical, online engagement for the technical industry, that is the IT sector. So that's in nutshell. So guys, we have extremely learned people on the panel who have done a lot of work, and we look forward for an amazing discussion today. So over to you guys.
So I'd first invite Anand to probably start off with the heavy metals industry, because that's the thing that a lot of people have not been able to understand. So Anand, if you could start with your views on the topic and how the industry is coping up.
So, metal industry is something which is, of course, linked to how other industries are performing. So, for example, major consumers for metal industry would be automobiles, would be consumer goods, and we all know where we are today on that. So, and the bigger challenge is it's not that you can leverage this whole duration and produce required metal at a low cost and then hold it, because there's a whole disruption in the supply chain. So even if you are able to procure metal at or the raw materials at a lower cost, which will eventually help you lower the cost of production, you have no way to get it into your premises. Or if you have got it into your premises, somehow there is still some challenge in getting it to the blast furnace or taking the finished product out back to different parts of the world. So, it's not just about how a particular company is looking at it as a standalone unit. They are all part of a larger supply chain, and this whole supply chain is under a lot of stress. So I think that is where we are from the business perspective. And we are the ports and infrastructure arm of JSW, which kind of has an insight or contribution both to the raw materials coming in and the finished goods going out of India, as well as to other parts of the country also. And we have this whole challenge of managing supply chain effectively so that the work keeps going. But today, the scenario is such that almost everyone is looking as if the whole assembly line, which is across the border, has come to a standstill. Now, the larger challenge was from HR perspective, how do we really engage people during these times? Because COVID, of course, is unprecedented. No one has had any idea how to deal with something of this volume, this size, and everyone was learning on the go. We were also learning on the go. So fortunately, JSW had already invested in a lot of e-tools. So some of the engagement mediums are already electronically available. But what happens is what we observed, and very interestingly, employees were not really, leveraging the e-learning module, which were already there, right? And it's a very elaborate system. You have connections to, you have linkages to HMM, Spark, and Percipio. You can order books online. You have access to online library. You have all of those things, but somewhere we still realize that there's a bit of, I think bit is an understatement. There was a lot of anxiety and fear, right? And the anxiety and fear was coming in from all sides. That we did not know how the businesses will pan out. We did not know how does it impact us as an individual, how does it impact us from the finance perspective. All the investments were down some 30-40% wherever you look at it, real estate or stock market, whichever angle you look at it. So what we thought was, I think it was the right stage to do something where we could look at two things, distract people from whatever fears they were coming through. And we started with very light, exchanges about what are they doing, how does work from home look like for people. And mind you, when we talk about our setup, while industry was kind of under lockdown, we being part of essential services, we were operating. But the game of engagement changed completely because you couldn't have people working in the normal shifts. So if somebody is coming into the office, suddenly by evening you were told that you can't step out. So people were stuck in the office or the premises for 24 hours. So we had a lot of such challenges out there. So we eventually thought, let's make it a little lighter. Let's ensure that people are exchanging information, people are able to see what's happening across employees. And we started with very light topics like people uh, sending in photos of their binge partners. What are they watching? Ramayana was a big hit. I think a lot of people send in photos watching Ramayana with family. A lot of people shared their working desk, their kids sitting next to them, or their pets sitting right on the table where they were working. So we had a lot of these fun kind of thing. Uh, Once we realized that people are now exchanging information, people are kind of opening up. That is when we brought in our leadership teams to speak to them, and that is when we also opened up a few topics which we always wanted to build competency on. Things like project management, finance or non-finance, Excel tricks. So these are the top three topics which are always there in our mind because this is part of the regular, business requirements. You need to know all these. We are a capex heavy industry, huge investments, almost amounting to thousands of crores. So project management is a very, very key component of our business. So with all of this, basically what we were driving was while we elevate fears, we couldn't eliminate it completely, but we could pass on this message that we are all in it together. Everyone is going through it. A lot of people are stuck where they are stuck, but at least you have something to look forward to, whether you are being with your family or whether you're returning to work. Even if you are stuck in office, at least you are stuck in office, you're not stuck in transit anywhere. So we went through all of these challenges. We tried to ensure that communication is constant. There were several leadership sessions that we organized, of course, either through Zoom, Hangout, or any other digital medium. And we also wanted to promote that people need to maintain the social distancing. So we insisted that people shouldn't join the meetings in a conference room. We wanted everyone to join in from their desk only, or from a distance of at least 6 feet. So these are some of the subtle ways of passing on the message that you need to focus on the health and the proper norms which are coming out as guidelines. So primarily that's what we did.
That's an amazing journey and a tough, difficult one. Just like, and Anand, I am sure, very, very difficult because where despite everybody being connected on phones these days, it gets really difficult to have that impactful conversation over the phone without having a face-to-face interaction. And there can be, I can't even imagine the kind of challenges that you guys faced, with people being stuck at offices en route. Great, thank you so much for sharing the thought. I will now pass on the baton to Dr. Ankita Singh. Ankita, if you can take us through your journey
Yes.
of this COVID fight.
Yeah, I think everybody is fighting the same battle. A lot of things are very similar to what has just been shared. But yes, being in an IT company, things are a little different. Things are a little easier, but there are always, multiple phases. One is, do you have the resources in place? Do you have the mediums and tools in place? Yes. Are you using it properly? That's a bigger question. So, to start with how we dealt with it, probably it was new. It is still new to everybody every single day. We don't know tomorrow what's going to happen. Things are changing with every single day, and perspectives are changing, needs are changing. So we still, even though we say that we are a little bit comfortable with work from home now, which we were not comfortable 45 to 50 days back, now we have moved from the question that we had earlier, how we will survive, to what we can do in a better manner. How can we engage? How can we perform well? How can we improve productivity level? How can we ensure that projects are not getting hampered? So all these questions are already there, which shows that a little normal approach has already come in. What we did initially, Vandana, when we started, we were very sure that we just have to talk about employees. So when we talk about engagement or project or production, it starts and ends primarily with employees. So we just stopped talking about projects. We just stopped talking about work. Primarily, initially, for many days, I think we were just focusing on employee well-being and how comfortable they are. Are they stressed out? Are they okay? Are they at home and they are safe? Then second phase came in, where we started talking about, are they properly enabled to work from home? So all the things that they need with respect to devices, machines, network connectivity, all those things are available, or what kind of help is needed. We created a committee which is named as We Care, which takes care of employee well-being, and at the same time how project managers are dealing with it. We started with training programs where we educated managers how not to assume that employees are at home and they are free for 24 hours. How discipline has to come in, how they have to still get into a structured mode where they expect employees to work as per a defined schedule, which can be definitely as per their comfort, because when you work from home, things definitely get changed. At the same time, we also told them, start trusting people. Don't assume and don't question employees that, I did not see you in front of the system for 8 hours, so I'm sure you did not work. So you need to trust. Instead of monitoring them by time, we requested them to go task based. Just give them work, give them timeline, and ensure that it is done. Provide all kind of support. So that was the phase which was taken for managers. At the same time, we took trainings for employees, where we told them how discipline is important. We understand they are at home and there will be disturbances or needs or requirements throughout the day from family members and others as well. How they can cope up with it, how can they still manage their work in office, and how can they strike, not if not a perfect balance, but somewhat a balance between work and life in this new work from home environment. When these things were a little set, when we were able to get confirmation from managers as well as employees that yes, we are stable and we can contribute, at least we can focus on a project, then we started talking about continuity, how you can ensure that you're able to contribute, and probably you are ready to grow. As Anand also mentioned, probably that was the phase where we got our senior management in, and we started focusing on cross training and the required trainings that employees would need for respective projects. So this was all, Vandana, in a phased manner. Challenges are still there, and probably we are coming up with new processes and new initiatives every single day. I cannot say what we launched or what we decided will fit work from home culture uh, 2 weeks back. It's still same. Probably we changed a lot of things yesterday itself. So things are like that, and things would remain like that, I think, forever, because even when we plan to open up tomorrow, we don't know what percentage of our employees will remain in office and what a part of them would still continue to work from home. So a lot of organizations, they have moved their strategy from simply thinking that this is just a temporary phase. I think everybody is re-evaluating, resetting, renewing, reviewing, whatever they could do, they are doing it to understand what's going to be the future of work for them. And in this entire thing, employee engagement, I would not say, as Rashi initially said very correctly, that it's not only fun at work. It's not only keeping employees engaged, with a few quizzes or engagement activities. It's very simple. If at all any employee is sitting in organization, or even if they are working from home, they understand your company's goal. They want to be a part of bigger picture. They are ready to contribute. Trust me, that employee is an engaged one. And this is not the time where we can overdo anything which is not so engagement defined. You just have to clearly tell employees that basic hygiene is taken care. They definitely want to know what's their role, how they can contribute, what organization is doing for them. Communication is the key. They do watch on television what's happening to the world, what's happening to India, but what they are more concerned about is how it is impacting their organization, how it will impact their salary, their KRA, is their job safe, what are we going to do with employees, will we follow TCS or Wipro, or we'll do something which is not similar to them. So there are questions around their lives, and they want to hear those answers. And I think, be it senior management, HR, or managers, definitely we should take help of everybody who can communicate and pass on positive message that this is the actual scenario, this is where we are, and this is what we plan to do. Once this level is taken care, probably we can move to anything and everything extra, which is fun, and probably taking a leap when it comes to training and development.
So right. So actually COVID-19 ate strategy for dinner, breakfast and lunch. So altogether strategy just vanished, I would say. Yes, and I think for once, whatever is the size of the organization, everybody is trying to come up with a possible I would say jugaad. Although jugaad is not my very favorite word, I am not a fan of jugaad, but the current situation is asking us to try permutation and combination, and we really don't know what is going to work for our organization. Very, very rightly put. I love the way you guys transitioned. Thank you so much for sharing the journey of transition, that it started with eventually making them, calming them down, because initially there was so much of false news traveling across, and everybody was panicking, as though they are going to die and corona is going to knock on the door and eat them up. Yeah, that was the scenario. I think everybody, I remember one night I was shaking because the number of cases in Mumbai were just not stopping. So yes, happens, everybody has that panic attack. So thank you so much, Ankita, for for this amazing share. The way you shared the journey was amazing. And over to Bhavesh.
So yeah,
Bhavesh would
yeah,
request you to take us through.
great. So one, thanks Vandana for giving the opportunity, and thanks to Rashi as well. I think you guys are doing a wonderful job. It's a great honor to be on this platform, engaging with all of you, and thank you to Ankita and to Anand as well. I mean, you guys are great. So from see, again, a lot has been already said by Anand and by Ankita. In Wipro, the sheer size of what we have is what becomes the most important challenge when you talk about engagement. So for us, what was most important is how do we survive the basics? How do we continue being in the service industry, cater to our clients, cater to our people? So IT and our emergency response team played a very important role. We started talking to people in various forums by virtue of either sending them automated messages to try and ensure that they are all safe, taken care of. We had also let them know about specifics of their projects and that they have to not be worried about anything specific as such. Having said that, I think the transition that we're talking about for us did not take more than 10 days time. And in the hindsight, looking at the reports and going by what we have done in the last couple of months, I think our productivity has in fact increased by a margin of around 5%. And that itself is kudos to the great work, folks in the IT, folks in the emergency response team, folks in administration, and all of them that have brought in. From a engagement perspective, I think we were far more than ready. I think the first team to kind of lap on, and I would call this an opportunity, while it's not a great situation to be in, but the learning and development team ensured that they were prepared. They started creating all their modules into an online platform. We also had the support of an in-house IT team to build a mobile-ready platform. So it all happened in about a span of 2 weeks when we were ready with an in-house mobile-based platform. The entire training curriculum was shifted to a mobile-based platform. We again, as I said, we are a service-based industry, and the fact that we are talking about close to about 2 lakh employees across the globe. Different measures were taken. One, we use Yammer to a large extent. So Yammer was a communication platform that we continued leveraging upon. From a perspective of connecting, it was also important for us to let them know that this is all part and parcel of how life treats us. So we also connected with them in terms of having a lot of internal coffee connects with the leadership. We arranged a lot of yoga and meditation classes as well. While I know these are basics, but I think in this times, what's needed is to be able to be mentally fit more than anything else. All of us are struggling to be able to fine tune that right balance of how do I work for home or work for home. So those two things, I think it becomes very important. And what we are doing right now is just trying to create new avenues of trying to connect with people. And while yes, it's an overkill, I think that overkill for next month or two is extremely important. So we continue to connect with them. We continue to celebrate small events, touch points. We continue to have coffee conversations with several leadership, and we try to keep it as informal as possible.
Sure. Thank you so much, for Bhavesh, for those insights. Definitely, I mean, the basics, even as you touched upon, are pretty essential, because if, we sort of move away from the basics, it will not start looking normal anytime soon. So from experience, I can tell you, I think COVID, the situation started getting worse right after we had Holi and Women's Day celebrations at work. And since then, it took around 30 days for organizations to get comfortable. And we did miss a little milestones in between. We did not celebrate birthdays of certain employees who probably had their birthdays during the month of, say, March, April. Those little annual connects, which are generally planned as town halls, were sort of missed and postponed. But now companies are getting back to that and doing it just the way they used to, just changing their platform from an offline to online mode. But definitely struggling between the work from home and work for home is a very essential part for all the employees. So thanks for touching upon that.
Yes, Rashi. In fact, it is not like a general work from home. You are right now working for home and you're doing a combination of both of it. I don't think a lot of people have done that, not me. So believe me, I am struggling. So I think rest of the world is also struggling. Thank you so much for bringing that point out, Bhavesh.
So quickly, in the intro itself, all three of you have already touched upon the first two themes that we were going to talk about. That's the pillars of engagement and the transition that we take. So the forum is open. Any one of you can quickly, brief more on what are the main pillars of engagement that you see as an organization or as an individual, and how are those pillars shifting from the traditional workforce environment to the online workforce engagement.
I think COVID, as all of us know, I think it's been the biggest disruptor, and in fact, it has forced us to think at least 5 years in advance. I mean, things that most of the CEOs, CIOs, CHROs would have planned to do 5 years down the line, they have started doing it now. And I think it's what's most important before talking about the pillars is to understand and perhaps redefine employee engagement. And I think all of you did touch upon the fact that engagement is not just about celebrating, having fun, and talking to each other and smiling and laughing. I think engagement is more about being able to know how do I contribute to my company culture, how do I end up supporting what my company believes in, and perhaps end up in a contribution towards the bottom line. I very vividly remember, and I think I keep quoting this everywhere, wherever there's a question of engagement. Mr. Narayan Murthy very famously quoted once that our assets walk out of our office every evening, and it is our job to ensure that they come back next morning. So I think this is perhaps one time where engagement becomes extremely, extremely critical. And as HR professionals and other folks in the organizations, I think we'll all have to improvise our strategies and continue to invest in technology like we've never done before. From a pillar perspective, I think I've already spoken about the mental and the physical well-being. I think that's one aspect for me which is going to play an extremely critical role in the next 6 months to come. How do we understand our people? How do we understand the fact that there could be somebody with let's say kids at home? How do we appreciate the fact that there could be people with their in-laws, people with their parents, and a lot of other aspects which come into play? There are small kids, toddlers who are required to be taken care of. So how do we enable our working mothers to not have the luxury of keeping their child in a crash and still continue to work and deliver as he or she is expected to do? So all that becomes extremely important. Pillar number 2 for me, I think, will be while we have continuously spoken about how important it is for us to listen to our employees. I think again, COVID has made us understand that our assets, our biggest assets, continue to be our people, and what's important for us to understand what makes them happy. And I think it can only happen through various sets of dialogues that we have with them, to understand the problems, to have clear answers to the apprehensions that they have had, to answer it very crystal clearly in terms of what is the messaging that the organization is going to deliver to them, to their team members, to folks around, to their clients, and all of that. So communication and talking to employees to understand their perspective, to me, becomes extremely critical. The other thing I think which is extremely important is the fact that now, if it's not already started, I think the whole concept of gig economy, the concept of hiring work from home staff. I was just reading in a particular article a couple of days back that there are several organizations which have already started hiring people who will only be working from home. We will obviously continue to see contractual hiring, freelancing, and all that will come into play. So now, as HR professionals, as folks who manage talent, it's going to be extremely critical for us to understand how do we manage such a distributed and diversified workforce. There'll be people who will perhaps come to work because they are essential. There'll be people who will stay at home. They could be folks in the support. Then there'll be people who will be gig workers. There'll be people who will be project-based hires. So how do we bring them all together to work towards a common purpose and a common goal is what's going to be the most important aspect of engagement for me. And circumferencing all of that is going to be communication. I think this is one time where I don't think extra communication is going to do us any harm. So the more we communicate, the better it is. Obviously, communication has to be positive. It has to be transparent. It has to be what the reality is. Yeah, that's my 2 bits.
Anand, over to you. I wanted to quickly ask one question that has come to us, that is how to effectively engage employees. Particularly, we understand that this is an uncertain time and a lot of employees are freaking out under stress. Okay. However, there are certain sensitive employees, okay, who probably needs one-on-one attention. How do you effectively manage those employees who are under stress and or considering that the organization is also under uncertainty? How do you probably take up those questions?
So this is probably one of the primary concerns of any management team. How do we ensure that if at all you have any employee who needs support, gets that required support? Now, unfortunately, there is no quick solution to this, right? So engagement is not something which you can build over 3 months period, 6 months period. It's a process in itself. It's not an event, right? All we have done in the last 3 months is expediting what we had plans to do in 6 months. We did over communication, like Bhavesh said, and that's what I was thinking when he was talking about it. I think more or less everyone took responsibility and communicated the best that they could. But coming back to your question, I think especially when you look at any employee who needs support, you could look at 2 solutions. One, you can check out whether your managers are equipped well enough to tackle those issues. Because at the end of the day, a manager is the key aspect for any employee engagement perspective. You can have best of the facilities, you can have best of the practices, you can have best of the tools available. At the end of the day, a team member will interact maximum with the manager. The manager's response, the treatment of being fair or being heard, I think these hold a lot of value they have a lot of importance in a person's discretionary effort. And that's primarily the whole concept of employee engagement, is how much discretionary effort is the employee putting in, right? Now, in case, let's assume in case managers are not equipped, there are several organizations which are there which can actually provide this kind of expertise. Now, I would say we are fortunate that at JSW, this was already in place. Last year itself, there was a lot of focus on mental wellness. So apart from all the other wellness activities that are undertaken, yoga, and we have a fabulous gym, all those things are there. But there was a lot of focus on mental wellness. So fortunately for us, that infrastructure was already built in. All we did had we worked with our partners to ensure there is a regular communication going in. So basically, we were looking at 2 or 3 pronged approach, internal and external. Wherever we could address the queries internally, we could answer or help people internally, we did that. Wherever people were not ready to come and share either with the HR partner or with the manager that, you know what, I'm little anxious, I'm little, I need to talk to somebody, because they may have this whole thing that I don't know how will it pan out at the time of year-end appraisals, or what will it reflect when my growth is discussed. So they have an option to reach out to these external consultants that we have, completely anonymous, and various medium of reaching out to them. So that's how we are managing it. And it's panned out pretty well. I think we were in a way fortunate that we launched this last year itself, and we had this infrastructure in already existing. So we just, kind of overdid in terms of communication. So in fact, yesterday morning, I also took that test to check whether, I am under stress or not. So I also did that.
Do share that test link with us also. I think we all need that.
Right.
Yes. Thank you so much, Anand. Ankita, I would ask another question to you. I'm sorry, I'm moving to questions because we have already received so many questions in our registration forms, and as well as on the live chat. So I was wondering if you can tell us how different what was it, in you answering a sensitive employee, because the tech at the IT front there is a lot of rift which is going on. Unfortunately, a lot of employees are under the threat of losing their job. How are you managing that situation?
Uh, Vandana, I think communication again is the key. So you need to be transparent. If at all you are about to release employees, you shouldn't be singing a song that no, you are all safe here. You have to tell them what the reality is, and definitely they all should understand organizations. They put in a lot of efforts, time, money in recruiting anybody, so they will definitely not release anybody for no reason at all. So the answer probably to everything is why. So whenever you are interacting with your employees, whenever you are trying to communicate, justify, or share anything, always have a defined why behind it. Employees should know why you are doing it, why they are part of it, why they will be released, or why they will stay in the system, or why they should be doing certain things to remain in the system. So these approaches definitely help. We have always ensured that, as I mentioned initially, we just focused on their well-being. When we literally moved to business side of it, we did tell them that there is a possibility of these projects shaking a bit, and there are chances that we will see the impact, but you may probably will be asked to go on leave without pay, or we would request you to go on a sabbatical, but we will definitely not release you. If at all there is a further impact on the project, or the revenue side, we may defer the appraisal process, but we will not deduct your salary. So obviously, as I mentioned in my earlier point as well, people are more concerned about what will happen to them, because situation is uncertain for everybody. Nobody knows how the organization, I was asked a very valid question, Ankita. We know we were billable then, and we are all billable now. So if a company is reacting, what is the reason? projects are going as is, we are all working, so what is the reason for deduction, or if at all any kind of discussion we are going through. And we literally had to share with them the real story, that you have to save a kitty. If at all tomorrow things go really bad, we should have something to help you all and pay you all. And at the same time, if things really go well, definitely things will be back to normal. So whatever we have done in our system, we have ensured that we clearly communicated to them. I understand there will be few pockets where transparency cannot be made to the 100% level, but whatever they should be knowing, that has to be told to them via different medias. As Bhavesh and Anand also mentioned, if HR feels that they are the people who can communicate and convey everything, that's wrong. You have to take help of enablers, or project managers and people who interact with all employees. You have to pass on your information or message through them. And with this approach, I think we have managed to um, um, manage the situation which came up. And we were able to answer all why we are doing it, and how far they will get impacted, how soon we will be back to normal, and is it going to be bad for them, is it going to be neutral for them. One thing for sure they know is we will share the real picture, and everybody is in it together. So if at all a lot of employees or employers would come up and they say, we will always have exceptions, these are critical people. So even if we have paused this process for everybody, there will be two cases we will consider. We have ensured whatever we launch, it is same for everybody. We do not make any exception. We just tell those employees that understand and be a part of this game. We cannot make any exceptions. We cannot treat people differently. We have to set a culture which is already there in the system. If values are defined, those have to be followed.
Great. And thank you so much for bringing that point up again, Ankita, that, yes, there are times the managers, the senior management of different departments, they come to HR and they tell them these are key people and we have to treat them differently. In this scenario, I think this is totally, what you say is totally right, that, we have to follow the values of the organization. And everybody understands rational if it is explained properly. Totally. Okay, so moving ahead, Bhavesh, I have another question coming up, and this is like, can people, Pratik Undkat is asking you a question. Can people in leadership role make an impact in their team with engagement and motivation in the team, as they have their work agendas and probably such important things often gets ignored? If yes, what are they?
I think
What are
Pratik,
the ways? Yes.
yeah, I think Pratik, you kind of answered your question yourself. So yes, one, can leaders make a difference? I think definitely yes. I don't think any one of us work as much as for the organization as we do for our managers. It's an old age saying that people leave their managers and not their organization. So as a people manager, as a leader, anybody who is able to understand the whole issue with what the employees are going through, the whole perception management, the whole piece of understanding them clearly, I think that is going to go a long way. And the fact that the manager or the leader himself or herself is also in the same shoes, I think it helps. COVID, for some strange reason, while these are paradoxical times, I think it doesn't discriminate. It can affect any one of us, and that is one reason why it has brought all of us together. So this is one area when there are no boundaries or levels that come into picture. I think organizations have tried understanding that, and today leaders are not shying away. And I'm talking about from, let's say, a Wipro's perspective as well. Leaders are not shying away at all to try and participate in small events, small gatherings. It could be as small as 50 people in that group, and a senior vice president is more than happy to give in that 1 hour, which means the leaders understand that's extremely critical for them to be a part of the story. And I think they can make a big difference. Vandana, you're mute.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Bhavesh. I just missed. Anand had actually replied to Pratik, and he said that leaders can do two things: be sincerely interested in people well-being and be consistent in what they say and treat people. Great point. I think you both are in sync. I am so glad our leadership is in sync. And I would over to Rashi. Please ask questions which are coming on Facebook.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So we have quite a few questions coming on Facebook. I'll direct the first question to Anand, given that he did talk about how JSW had already taken certain measures regarding employee wellness. So Anand, we have a question here that how do we use the emotional quotient piece to engage our employees in the current situation, given that, IQ is not something which is helping us to cope up, but EQ would probably do. So how do you cope up with that?
So I think the quickest solution for that is identify your top managers in terms of number of people that they manage. So if you identify your top 50% of the people managers and start familiarizing them or taking them through this whole concept of emotional quotient and the importance of them reaching out to their own team members, I think we could make it exponentially faster rather than having an external consultant scheduling discussions with people or the HR partner trying to reach out to his 500 partners. I think the best way would be empowering people, empowering managers, equipping them with the EQ side of it. And then, of course, once you have tackled or once you have addressed a larger segment of your population, you can then also bring in experts, have common forums. You can do that.
Sure. Thank you for that. The next question is directed to Ankita. So, Ankita, what are the effects on HR given that the lockdown has also created a lot of financial strain to the organization and in turn to the HR budgets? So, how does the HR cope up with that and continue to maintain engagement?
Rashi, I think budget was never a constraint for HR, at least for me. I have never taken that as a constraint. When it comes to training and development, and you know that you need an expert and who will be available only outside your organization, definitely a huge amount of investment is required, and that's where we seek budget. But most of our activities, which are related to employee engagement or operational cost, we have kept it very, very low. And I think, as you know, this is the fourth year in a line where we have been certified as great place to work. And if at all you look at our processes, probably we hardly spend anything. It's all through Facebook, it's all through WhatsApp, all social media, all online platforms that we have. And at the same time, because when we were going to office, when we were at work, we used to engage with employees really, really well. We had committees, those were run by them, not by HR, so they were the process owners, and it becomes really easy to drive when the drivers themselves are from the team and we are not pushing them to do certain things. Again, recruitment, if I talk about, you have so many platforms and they are all for free. So we should never, as a HR person, I would say this is an opportunity. Because of COVID, you are actually handling the management as well as employees, be it IQ, EQ. You have most of the responsibilities with you, and this is the time when you can really perform well and shine through. So we should definitely focus on anything and everything which is available. Cost was never, at least, I mean, that's my personal view, cost was never a concern for me pre-COVID. Currently, definitely it's not a concern. And even post-COVID, we have enough channels, enough mediums to manage all the requirements of HR, or for that matter, any enabling function. So things will be definitely better, because suddenly everybody has moved to online thing. There is no mix of offline and online. So things have become much more easier and cost optimized.
So I think it's time for organizations to get a little more creative with those who are having a lot of HR budgets to see where they can probably, save on that for the future as well. So next question I have for Bhavesh here. So given the current situation, there are a lot of unfortunate situations also having at home, like everyone does not have that sort of a conducive environment. We have seen a rise in domestic violence, etc. So how do you think organizations can help employees cope up with unfortunate situations at home, or any stress that's coming from their personal front?
Okay, so that's a pretty difficult one. But having said this, I think again it again boils down to the fact of how do you have the whole balancing act taken care of. So I think it's in the current situation as well. When we've spoken to our employees, we have come across such situations, and there is a lot of forums that are open to them. So we've opened up forums of counseling. We've opened up online consulting sessions with physiotherapists, with doctors, with counselors, and all of that. Uh, Apart from domestic violence, I think a lot of other issues that have also cropped up is the fact that, let's say, people don't have bandwidth, and there are issues of internet, there are issues of not having a table or a chair, and people are actually working on the floor of their rooms. So I think some of those questions are being answered by virtue of our admin team trying to connect with them, trying to courier whatever facilities are required. And this is not just Wipro. I think a lot of other organizations have also started doing that. So to be able to cater to their well-being, which is mental well-being, the physical well-being, and also create an atmosphere of conducive work environment by virtue of supplying them with what they need. It could be as simple as a mouse pad. It could be tables, chairs, or a particular place where they can actually work out of. So all those things are being taken care of. And I think investment for mature organizations, I think this is the time when they have realized that the investments actually on people have to increase rather than keep a tab on that. Because your retention levels for now perhaps be in check, but sometime later, I think people who actually stay with the organizations are the ones who really were cared and taken care of at difficult times.
So thanks for that, Bhavesh. I would also, given that this was a more tricky question, and also this is something a lot of organizations might be facing but would not know how to handle, if Anand and Ankita both could throw a little more light on how we could, manage such a situation.
So from our perspective, like I said, we fortunately already had mental wellness infrastructure available. So some of these issues are actually routed there because it gives employees a comfort that it is anonymous, it's not known to his close colleagues and all. So I think they prefer that particular route because that option is available, that channel is available. So I think that is where it gets addressed, because that's what I was thinking when we were discussing this topic in last few minutes, that we actually don't get too much here in last 1 or 2 years. The number of such scenarios that we get to hear about has reduced, and probably the reason is people have opted to choose the other channel which is available.
Sure. I'm sure that in such a situation, anonymity is of utmost importance for an employee. They would not like to discuss that within their workplace and probably have their managers and peers know about it. So an external partner would probably be a little more helpful. So Ankita, anything on that from your end?
I think it will, Rashi, it will always be difficult. As I think you gave the answer. It becomes really difficult to trust people with whom you do not stay. At the end of the day, you know that you're just working with them and you're connected with them with respect to organization and the kind of work you're handling. Managers, because when you work with them daily, you know that they are interacting with 10 more people. There are cases of biasness. There are cases where people think that you feel that I'm not performing, and if at all I share my personal issue with you, there is no guarantee that you will not quote it later when you're talking about my performance. So there are a lot of things because of which people will not be comfortable. So I don't think in our organization we have ever directed it to managers or direct line of control. We have always kept an external body. We have shown the agreement to our employees that this is how it is. We do not get to know about what is happening. Like most of the bodies of great places to work, we don't know who responded to what, even though they have email IDs. So we do tell them that trust us. It's just that we have enabled that platform for you, but we are nowhere linked. So if at all they can help, and it's not that we have just given one committee or one person, we have given various numbers. They can select whom to contact and where to seek help from. So you just need to tell them probably that we are here. We will be able to help if at all you want us. Otherwise, we have these things enabled for you. Please use it. Just ensure you are safe. And in case if you need any help from us, if at all you trust us, trust me, we will be there with you, and we will support you in all possible manner.
Yeah, I can totally understand. Our organization can only go to a certain extent and try and help the employees at their personal spaces at least. So I think we are almost towards the close of the conversation. Vandana, would you like to take up the next piece?
Yes, please. I have, I think we are running short of time, but I really want to take up this question which has come: remotely working versus remotely engaging. What could be the fallouts from a talent engagement perspective? And specifically, when employee is used to reflecting a different personality while physically being present at workplace, vis-a-vis reflecting a different personality while working from home. So, this is a question which has come to us in one of the registration forms, and I would, really like somebody. Bhavesh, would you like to take a hit on it?
Sure. Thanks, Vandana. So I think the challenges are going to be in plenty, and while we have all faced some of them, I think we are still way ahead in terms of what we are going to face once the normalcy comes into play. So I think the most important, or the biggest challenge is going to be, how do I adapt to the new normal? How do I prepare the balancing act? And the balancing act has to be not just for the employee but also for the employer. So the employee obviously has to realize how he or she divides work, working at home and again working for home. The employer has to start investing on platforms, start being digital, start looking at all the aspects of work and talent in a different lens altogether. The other challenge that will come into play in times to come is going to be the security threats. We've already heard people talking about malwares, about security issues. So cyber security, as an example, will flourish in times to come. And I think that organizations have to start investing in, and they will become extremely, extremely critical. The third aspect that I can think of, which will become a challenge with respect to us being able to turn online engagement into a success, is going to be productivity tracking. I mean, as you were mentioning yourself, that it's a different persona that I have when I am right in front in physical form in front of my manager versus I hiding behind a camera or perhaps not even turning my camera on. So how do I track performance? How do I track the productivity? I think that's going to be another important and critical challenge for organizations to face. And we'll have to, as HRs, I think all of us will have to start getting innovative and create avenues, create channels to try and measure productivity, not by terms of time spent, but by the outcome, what the outcome is coming out. The last bull in the rope for me is, again, effectively measure engagement. So while we are doing a lot of stuff, while we are engaging them with respect to having online courses, we are engaging with them by having fun celebrations, by coffee connects and all of that. It's all hunky-dory when I'm on camera with my people. I can smile, I can put up a face, which gives you a sense that I'm all happy. But you don't know how actually I'm feeling engaged once the camera is turned off. It's going to be extremely critical of how do I still continue to stay in touch with all our employees, and that has to happen obviously through our people managers. It has to cascade down from the leadership to the nth employee. How do we really connect with them? And that, to me, is going to be one of the biggest challenges as well.
Thank you so much, Bhavesh, for actually highlighting as pointers, because they are the real challenge. And I would request Anand and Dr. Ankita to, add in if they think there are certain challenges from their industry perspective as well.
So I think largely when somebody is trying to map out their overall employee engagement plan strategy, they need to understand the business also. If your business is such that it needs you to be at the workplace, and then just having an online portal or online mechanism won't work, right? So imagine, at our workplace, I mean, one of the sites, people are working next to each other because they are required there physically, and then you ask them to log on to their desktops just so that they can do it online, may not really work, right? Whereas if I need something to be communicated very, very quickly, and use analytics or need to leverage information, again depending on reaching out to one person individually, getting the information or getting the views of that individual may not really work. So I guess a better approach that I would imagine would be to evaluate what's your business model, evaluate what role people are playing, how do they connect back, and what are their needs, and then find a solution. Instead of finding a solution and then kind of enveloping your situation to it, find out what your situation is and then look for a solution.
Wonderful, valid point. Thank you so much. Ankita, over to you.
I think people will behave differently because those are two different phases, working from home and working from office. So that's quite normal. I think first is we should stop being judgmental. We should not be comparing it to that level, that why you were so efficient when you were back in office and why you can't perform at the same level when you are at work, because environment is different, situation is different, mindset definitely is different, even though they are at a very comfort of their home. So we need to understand these things. Second point, HR would always have 150 initiatives to implement, and they would want to do everything because they have to justify that, you know what, we are doing it. So they would never take a step back to understand that probably all initiatives are just not possible. So you need to find the right mix. As others also mentioned, you need to study where you are. When we talk about GPS, you know your global positioning, where you stand and which is the road you have to take. So measure it, plan it well, pick up only those things that will help you. If at all a road is very narrow and if you want to get onto a bus, probably it's not possible and it's not required. So just decide what's your need, how that individual is working, to what an extent you can help that individual. Stop judging, ensure whatever work that individual is supposed to do, you enable them to probably manage or do that work, and that should be enough at least for this point in time, because this is not a permanent situation. We don't know how things will be tomorrow.
Great, great, great. I think
So,
already 12.
yeah, if I may, I'm so sorry, but if I may, there is a question which has come on Facebook. This is a student who has written, and I understand that we've talked a lot about employee engagement. If we could just spend another 1 or 2 minutes just talking on the employees who are prospective employees, probably who would be our future employees, the students, engineers, or MBAs who are waiting for their internships or are probably waiting to join organizations next year as well. How is it that as an organization can we engage these youngsters who are still developing to be the next employees?
So I think, Rashi, it's not different for us, and I can quote live examples of what we've been doing. So we have close to about 125 interns that have got inducted just about last week. So we continued engaging with them through various modems like MS Teams, Skype chats, Zoom sessions, and all of that. So for them to be able to give the kind of experience that we would have given them on a normal situation, that was a challenge. But I think what has turned out well is the fact that we connected with them more often than possible. The whole induction training program, thanks to the LNOD team, was carried forward through, again, Zoom sessions, and I think that's worked out wonderfully well. So the only thing, if I were a student, uh, then I was going through one of the guys from 2008 talking about his story of how he came out from IIM Calcutta and how the world changed thanks to economic slowdown and what he is today. So I think his message was very relevant to all the students right now as well, which is don't lose heart. It is a difficult time for all of us, and perhaps more so for somebody who's not even started their career. A lot of organizations have deferred their joining, but I'm sure the deferment of joining will be honored, and all of them will come on board. And I think the tough times are the best times that teach us lifelong. And I think all those guys will surely remember what life has taught them. And I think this is the biggest learning that all of us can go through. So I think nothing to worry about, just that it's a tough time and it's for all of us.
Rashi, I would just want to add, if that's okay.
Yes, please, Ankita, please, all yours.
Yeah, so students who are still not part of any organization or they've still not received any offer letters, I would suggest that, first thing they need to do is they need to accept that changes have happened. There is no surety that they will get a job after some time. And once they accept this change, probably they need to adapt and they need to understand what will be the need of the organization. What we have started doing, obviously most of the organizations won't be able to pay a large number of interns or students who just want to explore and learn, but if at all they are ready, and which I think should be the key consideration, they should be open to learn. We and many other organizations, they are just letting students in, and they are placing them as shadow resources on different projects where they get to learn. So while we were earlier, learning to work, now we are working to learn, and that phase has already come. So students should definitely find opportunities, and they should not take stress that things are not available around, or outside. Things are there. It's just that instead of blaming the situation, they just have to probably be ready, explore, reach out to people. Now they say, no, but we don't have these people coming in. You have LinkedIn, you know who are the head HRs and who are the delivery people. Please reach out to them. Probably out of 10, 8 would not reply, but 2 may, and you may get some opportunity to learn and be part of the organization. Yeah, thank you.
And I know while everybody has answered what they have done as employee engagement, online employee engagement activities, however, there are so many questions on what exactly can be done apart from well-being. Exact, if somebody, if one of you or Anand, if you probably you can tell us the tools that you're using for engagement, online engagement, specifically the name of the tools, if it is available in the market or something like that, because people are focusing on that question.
Okay. So one, tools we use Quench. Now Quench is a portal which allows you to borrow book. It delivers book at your workplace. Uh, we leverage Percipio. We leverage HMM, Spark. Actually, there are a lot of tools that we leverage. And during this whole crisis thing, we actually also leverage the typical, Google Drives, Google Forms to get people's view. Get just like the forum we have right now. We had something internally where people put across their questions. We kind of answered them. So you don't really need to invest in some, or make some expensive investments. If you want to reach out to people, you have Google Hangouts available. You have Google Forms available, which you could leverage. So, like I said earlier, it largely depends on what is that you want to achieve. If your objective is learning, you have tools for that. You can sign up with platforms like Coursera, which have also come up with business versions. Uh, if you want to reach out or only engage people through quizzes, you have platforms like Engage for More. Very nominal cost, they will be able to push out questions on the topic that you advise them. So a lot of such tools are available, but first you need to make up your mind what is that you want to address, and then you have solutions for that.
Great. Thank you so much for actually calling out those names of the tools. Ankita and Bhavesh, if you have something to add on, please do, because I think in our around 4157 questions that we have received, I would say roughly 50% were around the tools, because people are really asking for ideas which can be implemented on the run.
Sorry, just before we go on, it's not that they were the best in the market. It's just that that's what I remembered right now, right? So don't go by my rating or by my mention of them. You evaluate them, but there are several tools available.
Correct. These are options that we are giving you
Yeah.
guys. You will always use your discretion of choice.
I can see Bhavesh has already put a few tools on the chat. He's mentioned about Kahoot. He's mentioned about how MS Teams is there. There is
Yammer.
Yammer.
Ankita,
Ankita is
anything?
already.
I think wikis or shared whiteboards. There are so many. I mean, that's probably the most common search. The moment you type free tools, employee engagement, you will get a list of 100. So I don't think I should pick few. I would suggest just find the right tool for your team. It depends on the number of people, it depends on the engagement level. Everything is available online. Please use Google and find the right fit for you.
Amazing. That was such an amazing conversation. I think we traveled the entire journey right from the start, like, when even though we had online engagement tools available with us, we were not really utilizing it at their, at it max, and the COVID-19 has actually pushed us to our extremes. And today I think we have, if you see, whether it's Anand Binani or Dr. Ankita Singh or Mr. Bhavesh Patel, all of them have said that, you have, if you are an HR professional and you want to do meaningful employee engagement, which is actually constructive, you have to involve your leaders, and and use your business leaders to come up and talk to the people, because one HR can't reach so many people. And even if we reach everybody, the I would say the impact would not be the same. So please make utilization of the tools which are available. There are ample free tools in the market. It is all just about googling the right one, the right fit for you, and you will be able. Also, it is very important to understand the important point of work from home and work for home, because right now it is not just WFH, basically you are working from home. No, it is a combination wherein you managing your domestic work, you're managing kids, family, everybody. So it is also the need of the hour is to be more humane. I think that is in nutshell. Please guys, do pitch in if you think I have missed anything which was discussed today. I think I covered everything, everybody. Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So thank you so much for joining us. And we are the topic for next week. We are planning to do something on how can we come back to work after COVID-19. That is going to be another topic that we are trying to take up, because that is something which is catching fire and everybody is needing guidance on that. And as usual, our idea is to give you real information which you can utilize and implement as HR professionals. No, not Gyan. Okay, thank you so much. Signing off, Vandana Teji from the Unicorn People. Thank you so much, our panelists, for joining us and giving us such a lovely discussion today. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
So thank you everyone. Yes, thank you everyone for joining us on Facebook. I'm just switching off the Facebook Live now. But for everyone who's joined us on Zoom, can we quickly have your videos on so that we can have our own digital photograph, which would generally have on a panel?